Okay, today we're going to journey to a pretty surprising intersection. The place where ancient Buddhist wisdom actually meets cutting-edge neuroscience. We're going to explore how a practice that's literally thousands of years old is now being validated in modern labs, and what that tells us about our minds, our brains, and maybe, just maybe, the universe itself. It's pretty incredible. So, we're going to start with a story that I'm sure you remember, one that absolutely gripped the world back in 2018. It was the rescue of that youth soccer team trapped deep inside a flooded cave in Thailand. I mean, for 18 days. 18 days with no food, rising waters all around them, just waiting in total darkness. So the question is, how did they possibly survive an ordeal like that? Well, the answer was just astonishing. When the divers finally reached them, they found the boys and their coach calm. They were sitting there meditating. Turns out their coach, who was a former Buddhist monk, had taught them this ancient technique to conserve their energy and, crucially, to stop them from panicking. This amazing story really brings us to a fundamental question. What exactly is meditation, and what is it really doing to our brains? To answer that, let's first put on our science goggles, right? Let's look through the lens of modern science and see what's actually happening inside our heads when we practice something like mindfulness. Okay, so at its very core, meditation is basically a form of mental training. Think of it like an exercise for your brain. Now, there are a lot of different styles, but one in particular, mindfulness meditation, is really capturing the attention of neuroscientists. Why? Because of its powerful and observable effects. And what scientists are finding is just, wow, it's remarkable. Neuroimaging studies over and over are showing physical, actual, structural changes in the brains of long-term meditators. So we're not just talking about a feeling here. This is a change you can literally measure. These key areas that are linked to higher-order functions, like self-awareness and regulating your emotions, they actually appear to be strengthened. At the exact same time, the regions of the brain that are linked to stress and memory, they're altered, fundamentally reshaping how the brain responds to the world.
And maybe one of the most stunning discoveries is about how our brains age. There was this study led by Eileen Luders that compared meditators and non-meditators over a long period. And while, everyone's brain volume naturally declines as we get older, the drop-off for the meditators, it was found to be significantly less steep.
So the data showed that the connection between age and the loss of gray matter was way weaker in meditators. So what does that really mean? Well, it suggests that this mental practice could actually help preserve your brain tissue, basically slowing down a key part of how our brains get old. But here's the thing. This incredibly powerful brain training tool isn't some newfangled discovery. To really get it, we need to zoom out from the science for a minute and explore its ancient roots, which go back thousands of years.
So this practice of mindfulness, it's right at the heart of Buddhism. Its original Sanskrit name, smriti, it literally means to remember. But it's not about remembering your grocery list or what happened yesterday. It's about remembering to bring your awareness back again and again and again to this very moment. Right here, right now. And even though its origins are spiritual, its application today is completely universal. Jon Kabat-Zinn, who was a huge part of introducing mindfulness to Western medicine, he puts it perfectly. He just calls it the art of conscious living, a practical skill that anyone, and I mean anyone, can develop to be more in touch with their own life. But you have to understand, in its original context, mindfulness isn't just a standalone trick. It's one piece of a complete framework for living a better life. It's built on these three pillars that all support each other. Sila, which is all about ethical conduct, Samadhi, which is the mental discipline and concentration we've been talking about, and Panna, the wisdom to see things as they really are. And together, they form a path toward what Buddhists call liberation from suffering. Okay, and here is where our story takes an absolutely incredible turn. This ancient system of thought, it wasn't just focused on the inner world of the mind. Amazingly, it also put forward a model of the entire cosmos. So deep inside ancient Buddhist texts, you'll find a description of a universe on a scale that is almost impossible to wrap your head around. Cosmic cycles are measured in units called an asankhai. An asankhai is a 1 followed by 140 zeros.
It's a number so huge it's basically defined as incalculable or just infinity. Now, what's just astonishing is how this ancient cosmology describes a cyclical universe. It talks about these great cosmic expansions and contractions, cycles called kalpas. And it's a vision that has this striking, almost eerie parallel to our modern scientific theory of the Big Bang and the potential Big Crunch. And these parallels, they don't just stop at the infinitely large. The texts also describe the infinitesimally small. They speak of something called a paramanu, the ultimate indivisible particle of matter. I mean, it's a concept that sounds remarkably similar to our modern idea of the atom. It's incredible. The texts even give a scale of measurement, breaking down reality from a single finger joint all the way down through a grain of rice, a louse, and even further until you reach 1 paramanu. And get this, the calculation suggests that it's the equivalent of dividing a single grain of rice over 82 million times. It's like an ancient theoretical journey right to the very heart of matter. So, after this unbelievable journey, from the tiny neurons firing in our brains all the way to the vastness of the cosmos, we land right back at the most important question of all. What does any of this mean for you and me right now? Well, in this worldview, the universe isn't just some physical space. It actually operates on a moral law of cause and effect, what we often call karma. And the core idea here is so empowering. Our future isn't fixed. It's not predetermined. It's our present intentions and our actions that are creating our reality moment by moment by moment. It puts all the power and all the responsibility right here in the now.
And that powerful idea really points to the ultimate purpose of all this knowledge. Because as fascinating as the cosmology and the neuroscience are, the original goal was never just about intellectual curiosity. The entire point of understanding reality, both the inner world and the outer world, was to find a path to freedom from the stress and suffering of life.
So we end up right back where we started, at this incredible intersection of mind and matter. The amazing parallels between this ancient intuition and modern discovery, they suggest these two worlds are just deeply, deeply intertwined. And it leaves us with this ultimate question. Are our minds just perceiving reality? Are they actually capable of tapping into something far, far grander? What if the greatest frontier for discovery isn't out there among the stars, but it's right here, waiting to be unlocked inside our own minds?